During the 1930s, the global aviation industry was experiencing many pioneering moments, and one of those pioneers was a female aviator called Amelia Earhart, and in 1937, she attempted to circumnavigate the globe. But she didn't. She disappeared somewhere over the Pacific Ocean and was never seen again. So this year, to celebrate the birth of the baby Jesus, I will be attempting to do what Amelia Earhart failed to do, which is circumnavigate the globe. Now obviously I don't have an airplane at my disposal, but I do have a computer, so I will be doing this on Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now before we get going, I should probably explain how this works, because I have set out 4 rules for myself. The first rule is that I have to finish the journey at the same airport I started at. That's not difficult. The second rule is that I have to visit all of the inhabited continents on planet Earth. So every continent excluding Antarctica. That's North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, and Oceania. The third rule is that I'm not allowed to use an aircraft that can fly supersonic. That would make this too easy. And the fourth rule, this is the real challenging one, is that I'm not allowed to turn off the game until I've completed the journey. Now that's gonna be interesting. The journey itself is going to feature 10 legs, so let's just run through those real quick. We will begin in Miami, and from there we will fly to Port of Spain, then Dakar, then Paris, then Dubai, to Singapore, Darwin, Nadi, Honolulu, Los Angeles, and then finally back to Miami. The aircraft that I have chosen to use for this trip around the globe is this, the Airbus A320neo, a fairly modern airliner which has a range of 3,500 nautical miles, which I think is enough to make all the legs. Okay, I think we are ready to get the F out of here, so parking brake released, and full throttle, here we frickin' go, baby. Yes, we are rolling down the runway, ready to begin our journey around the world. Ideal rotation speed is 160 knots, and we are coming up on it right now, so let's just pull back gently on the joystick, and away we go, we're flying! Yahoo! Alright, how do you put the wheels in? Oh, that's how you put the wheels in. I got it, relax. I promise I practiced with this plane before doing this. There's downtown Miami, and we are heading for Port of Spain, which is at the very top part of South America. It's in that general direction. All right, we are making our turn south to head toward Port of Spain. Now, if there is a map in this game, I don't know how you pull it up. Not ideal if you're trying to circumnavigate the globe. There's another plane over there. Let's make sure we stay clear of it. We don't want any mid-air collisions. Fortunately, I entered in my destination before taking off. So occasionally a little waypoint pops up on the horizon and I'm just gonna fly towards it. Also, do you like the livery I chose? World Travel. I thought it was appropriate for what we're doing here today. How do I know if I'm heading in the right direction? Oh wait, there's a waypoint on the compass. Ah, I see. I got it. Okay, there's a little blue marker on the compass in the upper left-hand corner. Okay, we have left the coast of Florida and we are heading in the correct direction towards Port of Spain. We are passing through 15,000 feet. Cruise altitude is 30,000. And, yeah. Like I said, the plane pretty much just flies itself. You just have to monitor it to make sure it doesn't, I don't know, crash into the sun. Okay, we've got a steady climb now. We're about to reach 20,000 feet. Speed is increasing, which is fantastic. The faster we can get there, the better. Alright, everything's looking pretty frickin' good so far. I think I'm nailing this whole pilot thing.
Sugar 200 tree traffic is 9 o'clock, 4 miles at flight level 300, generic. Report them in sight. Generic
Traffic.
18 traffic is 3 o'clock, 4 miles at flight level 290 Airbus A20N. Report them in sight.
Okay.
Sugar 200 tree traffic in sight.
No, it isn't. Okay, so ATC just called up and told me that there's another plane nearby. Flight level 300, which is 30,000 feet for those of you airplane newbies. But I don't see it. Do y'all see another airplane near here? Cause I don't. That's how accidents happen. ATC calls you up. Hey, there's an airplane near you. Do you see it? No? I don't. Looks like we're about to fly over the island of Nassau. Oh shoot, we're passing 30,000 feet. That's supposed to be our cruise altitude. Hang on. I gotta level the jet off. Oh shoot. Okay, how do I not overspeed? I pulled the engines back and now we're dropping out of the sky like a damn brick. So let's put the engines back on so we don't go crashing into the Bahamas. Okay, we are officially at cruise. The aircraft is under control. And we have about 2 hours until we need to start our descent into Port of Spain. 2 hours? Are there any books nearby? And on that bombshell, inside the madness and genius of Top Gear. I'm gonna crack this open. With the same combination of good luck and occasional good judgment that had got us through the first 13 years, we were being given another crack at doing what we loved. It felt good to be back. Oh, and look at that. I think I can see Port of Spain right out the window. Yes, I can. That's fantastic. We are just 80 nautical miles away, which means we can begin our descent. In other news, I figured out how to pull up the VFR map so I can actually see where I am in relation to shit. Now, I don't really know what a good rate of descent is for this thing, so I'm just gonna spitball it. Now, I'll be honest, I am nervous about the landing. The landing is where it's easy to mess everything up. If you look at the VFR map, you see these two islands? You kind of want to thread the needle between these two islands, and then you approach the runway from the west. Now, this island that we're flying to does appear to be pretty well lit, which is handy from my point of view, because if you look at the other island that's right next to it, there were no lights at all. It's just blackness over there. It's kind of scary, actually. Again, I don't really know what a good rate of descent is. We seem to be going down pretty quickly. I mean, we're already past 18,000 feet, and what? 4 minutes ago, we were at 30,000 feet, so I'd say we're getting down pretty quick. However, what we're not doing is slowing down. The jet is actually speeding up. The ideal landing speed is around 150, 160 knots, and we're currently doing 320. So we've got to slow ourselves down by almost 200 knots in the next 15 minutes. I'm not worried. Actually, no, we really do need to slow the frick down. Okay, we're slowing the frick down. I just pulled the engines all the way back. The plane is slowing down. We are now at 285 knots and decreasing. Altitude, we are now passing through 13,500 feet. So everything's looking good so far. We're approaching 10,000 feet now, which is excellent. On final approach, you want to be at 3,000 feet from sea level. But because this is an island, the airport is already at sea level, so my plan is to descend to 3,000 feet and then just maintain that altitude until we are lined up with the runway. Hey, how do we deploy the flaps? That's something I haven't... I think down on the D-pad is landing gear. No, it's right on the D-pad. You stay up. We don't need landing gear yet. Okay, so it must be down on the D-pad then. It is down on the D-pad. Okay, I figured out how the flaps work. Everybody take a deep breath. Whoa, why is my controller vibrating? Oh, we're overspeeding. Alright, well let's just pull the engines all the way back then. Can you hear my controller vibrating? Listen to that. How are we overspeeding? We're slowing right down, man. Look at our speed, it's plummeting. Okay, it stopped vibrating. Fantastic. Okay, we need to make our turn now. And bank. Okay, we are about to hit 6,000 feet. Which means we are close-ish. Alright, we are now at 170 knots, so we are at a pretty good approach speed. Still a tad faster than I would like. Ideally, we want 160 knots at most. Oh shoot, we need to turn! We're at Sharkway Point. Turn. We're gonna do full flaps now. Alright, I see the runway lights. It's impossible to miss them. They're the brightest things on the frickin' island. My favorite thing about flying at night is when you're coming into land and you see the lights of the city that you're landing at. There's just something so spectacular about that. Airspeed too low? Ah, it is too low. We're passing through 140 knots. Okay, alright, no, we're good. All we have to do now is, fly the jet down to the runway. Winds are calm, there is not a cloud in the sky, there is no way I f*** this up. Alright, time to put the wheels down. Wheels are going down. Yes! Airspeed is not too low. 153 knots is ideal for landing. I don't know what you're talking about, game. Alright, this is intense. This is intense. This is our final approach into Port of Spain. Oh, look at all the cars down there driving. That's fantastic. Alright, make sure you're straight. Make sure you're straight. Do I know what the reverse thrusters are? I think I do. Alright, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We're a little high, but I think it's gonna be okay. Flare, flare, flare. Flare that b****. Ooh, bit of a hard landing, but we are down. That was more of a body slam the runway than a touchdown on the runway. But we did nonetheless land. Well, everybody, welcome to Port of Spain. Okay, so after nearly 3 hours of flight, we have completed leg 1. 3 hours. That's not brilliant, if I'm honest. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are refueled, restocked. We're ready to get the hell out of Port of Spain. Let's go. Let's go to Dakar. Full throttle. Oh yes, engines at maximum thrust. Now this next leg is a biggie, because this next leg we are crossing the Atlantic Ocean. Alright, there is 160 knots. We can now rotate. And goodbye, Port of Spain. Thank you for supplying my jet with fuel. Actually, I have the plane set to unlimited fuel, but I'm just pretending. Oh, and goodbye to South America as well. This was our South America stop, and now, of course, we are heading to our Africa stop. Alright, making a slight turn to the north as we climb out of Port of Spain, and then it's gonna be nearly 6 lonely hours across the Atlantic Ocean as we fly over absolutely nothing and nobody. Alright, we are officially leaving Trinidad and Tobago and the Americas behind for now. We will, of course, be returning to the Americas because we have to finish where we started, which is Miami. But it's gonna be a while before that happens. So until then, goodbye to the Americas. And hello to the Atlantic Ocean. Look at that. Look at that just inky blackness of nothing. This is gonna be my life for the next 5 hours, just looking at darkness. Actually, it won't be, because I'm gonna let the game run and then go do something else. Because I want to do this round the world thing properly. I don't just want to speed up the game. That feels like cheating to me. Okay, now this is something that I was trying to understand in the previous flight, the previous leg of the journey, but I couldn't figure out exactly how it works, and that is the autopilot system. Now, I get this bit here, where you can, choose a cruise altitude, right? So I'm gonna say, I don't know, let's say 35,000, let's say 35,000 feet. And then I can also set a speed. Whoa! Talk of speed, what the heck is going on here? Why are we in such a steep climb? What the heck is going on? What is the trim wheel doing? Hold the frickin' phone, dude. Why are you going up? Go down, trim wheel. We're trying to stay airborne, not go to frickin' space. Anyway. As I was saying, before I had to save the aircraft from stalling, the autopilot. I don't know how it works. Like, look, I'm gonna engage autopilot here. Okay, I put on autopilot 2, whatever. Okay, so it's turning the aircraft to be on the heading, which is fantastic. But look at the altitude. Look at that. See, it for whatever reason, the autopilot wants to fly the airplane downward. Let's see, engage select altitude mode. Engage managed altitude mode. So if I press X, what does that do? So, okay, now the plane's climbing. Okay, so the plane's climbing now. I'm gonna leave that and see if the autopilot brings us to 35,000 feet. It also put us on the heading, in case you didn't notice. Look at that. See, it put us on the heading there, so we don't have to constantly adjust the aircraft while it's flying across the Atlantic. Okay, I think I figured out how the autopilot works. That's gonna make doing this round the world thing a lot easier. Because what I was doing in the previous leg is I couldn't figure out how the autopilot worked, so I had to constantly adjust the heading because I couldn't keep the plane on the heading, nor could I maintain an altitude. I was either gradually ascending or gradually descending. And that was really annoying to have to come back here every 20 minutes and correct the plane. I am going to sign off and monitor the aircraft, and I will be back in about 5 hours when we need to descend into Dakar. Well, after nearly 5.5 hours of flight, looky there. It is the westernmost point of mainland Africa. Specifically, that is the city of Dakar, which is our destination. Alright, we're gonna hop into the cockpit, and we're going to tell the autopilot to descend. Now, the problem with descending at this rate is that the aircraft speeds up. As you can see, our airspeed is climbing quite quickly now. So I'm gonna pull back on the engines manually. Okay, autopilot has been disengaged. I now have control over the airplane. I'm going to reduce our descent rate because we don't need to be descending that quickly at this point. We've got plenty of room to make it to the airport. You know, it suddenly dawned upon me that we did not need to descend anywhere near as fast as we did, because we're still 34 miles away from the airport, and we're at 12,000 feet. Maybe a slight premature descent there. I would really like it if the engines would respond to my input. I'm telling them to reduce power and they're not reducing power. Okay, now they're reducing power. I had to completely put them in idle in order for them to listen to me. Flippin' heck. Okay, we're gonna start lowering the flaps. Gonna start getting the plane into its landing configuration as my controller vibrates violently to tell me that I'm overspeeding. This game needs to chill out, man. I know what I'm doing. Okay, we do need to descend faster, though. Alright, we are turning on to left base for whatever runway this is. It's the only runway. There we go. Basically, I turned too tight, and so now we're nowhere near lined up for the runway. But our speed is good, our altitude is good, so I'm feeling confident. And turn. Oh, I think I overshot that turn, just like I did in frickin' Port of Spain. Man, it's hard to judge these turns. How close are we to that runway? We're pretty close. Let's go ahead and put our landing gear down. Jeez, nothing is lit around this airport, and it's throwing off my perception, so I have to keep looking back at my my instruments. Alright, this is a bit of an awkward approach, but we are gonna make it. Hoping for a smoother touchdown this time, instead of just body slamming the runway. Okay, we're about to touch down in Dakar. Just kiss it. Just kiss it. Kiss the runway. Kiss the runway, just like that.
You are not cleared to land. Clear the runway.
I was cleared to land. Reverse thrusters are still on as we pull onto the taxiway. That is not standard practice. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dakar. Apparently we weren't given clearance to land, but I think that's nonsense, because there's literally not another plane around here for miles. So, I think it's okay. Okay, we know the drill by now. Parking brake off, maximum thrust, and we are now f***ing off out of Dakar. Next stop, Paris Charles de Gaulle, which according to the game is also 5 hours away from here. So we got another 5-hour flight ahead of us. That's fantastic. There's 160 knots, rotate. Now that we have left Dakar, I'm going to set up the autopilot and then let the game run. Actually, I'm going to increase our speed to 300 knots. The quicker we can get to Paris, the better. Goodbye, Dakar. Alright, now that the autopilot is engaged, I'm going to let the game run. So, to make the time go by a lot faster, let's engage montage mode. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, after another 5-ish hours of flight time, we are getting ready to make our descent into Paris. Now, I'm talking quietly because at this point, it is 2:43 in the morning where I live, and as a result, everybody in my neighborhood, including my house, are asleep. So I can't be my loud, enthusiastic self without making my whole family mad. So we're going to go about doing this, and this is only stop 3 too. Oh my gosh, Earth is big, man. Okay, at this point we can disengage the autopilot, and we're going to fly the jet in manually. Now I am somewhat tempted to attempt to dive below the clouds to see if we can get a look at the Eiffel Tower, but frankly, I think that is, unnecessary and also dangerous. You know, we made it this far. Last thing I want is to crash into a famous monument because I was trying to get a thumbnail shot. Now, the clouds are actually going to make this approach a lot harder than the other two that we've done, because Port of Spain and Dakar were both crystal clear, which made finding and lining up with the runway a whole lot easier. Wait, why does it say that my destination is over there when Charles de Gaulle's clearly off to my right? Actually, that might not be Charles de Gaulle that's off to my right. That might be Paris Orly, but you know what? Paris is Paris. Paris Orly is going to be trickier to land at than Charles de Gaulle for a number of reasons, but the chief reason is that I don't actually know where the runways are. I'm sorry, why is the master warning light on? Oh, it's because I'm too low to the frickin' ground. And I'm about to crash into a Paris suburb. Yeah, being extremely tired definitely affects your ability to fly a plane properly. Because I am struggling here. Oh shoot, is that the runway? Oh frick, you know what? We're gonna pull an extremely dangerous maneuver here. Reduce the throttle. We're going way too fast. Way too fast. Come on, and this is crazy. If I make this, you're gonna have to call me the best pilot in the world, because that was an extremely dangerous maneuver I just pulled. And we are way too high for this runway. Way too high. But that's not gonna stop me from trying. Yep, we got it. No, we don't. We don't got it. Oh, land, you Land, you Okay, alright, we're down. We were quite far from the center of the runway, but you know what? A landing that you can walk away from is a good landing. Never mind that we aimed for Charles de Gaulle and ended up at Orly. Paris is Paris. Okay, that concludes leg 3 of 10 of our trip around the world, which, I mean, at this rate, dude, I'm not gonna finish this journey until Christmas Day. So, you know what? F*** it. We're gonna spend the holidays in Paris.